Okay, so good morning, everybody, and welcome to our PA Forum session today, where we are going to be talking to you about some of the opportunities that we've got forthcoming to join our committee. We've got some people joining us online today, but we also know that there's been quite a few people that would like to view this recording, so we hope you get a chance to watch this back and you can hear a little bit more about the opportunities that we've got available. So just before we kick off, I was writing notes for this and I was writing down in the paper, and I just literally ended up just kind of screwing up the piece of paper and just throwing it in the bin because of the recycle bin, because I just thought to myself, there's probably nothing better, that I'm so passionate about this that actually I could just probably talk about it from the heart. So I wanted to just keep this really nice and informal, have a chat with you all about where the PA Forum came from, how we got to where we are today. And we'll also hear from some of our committee members about what it's like to be on the committee, because I can sit and talk to you about this all day, but there's nothing better than hearing it directly from them as well. So we've, to give you an idea about the forum, so PA Forum was set up, we're now into our 6th year, and I was basically working in a hotel. I didn't know anybody in Birmingham at all. I'd never worked in the city ever, and I was walking around Birmingham just popping into different businesses, asking who I could speak to there about meetings and events and all different things, because that was my role. I was a sales manager in a hotel, and a lot of the receptionists would say, "Oh, I'm not quite sure, but I'll send one of the PAs down to come and speak to you." And I remember meeting, the first PA that I met was a lady called Jackie Goodfellow. She'd been at PwC for 37 years. And we sat in PwC's reception and we spoke for about an hour and a half, and we had such a fantastic conversation. And I just had this huge insight into her role and what she did from that conversation, that it just, I left PwC and walked into Pinsent Masons, and I had the same conversation there with another lady called Anne Prentice. And I was talking to her about what Jackie had said, and Anne completely agreed with her. And then I went to Squire Patton Boggs and I was speaking to the secretarial team manager there. And I was dotting around the city, and I very, very quickly realised that there wasn't a space for people that were working within the role that could meet each other most of the time. No, not they've been talking to each other on email, but didn't even know who each other were, and never met each other in person, face to face. And so I brought all of those people together all in one room when at Park Regis opened, the hotel I was working at, and we had afternoon tea together. And I learned more and more and more about their roles then, and the sort of the trials and tribulations and the challenges that they faced on a day-to-day basis. And I've always been a person that I feel I want to bring people together. That's always been something that I believe is a massive ethos of mine. And so I brought them all together, and we Googled, PA events in Birmingham city centre, and there have been something called the Gatekeepers Guild. But the Gatekeepers Guild hadn't really been active since about 2014. This was 2016. And so we decided to form what was at the time the Birmingham PA Forum. And we did our very, very first event, which was all about your LinkedIn profile and how to create a brand for you personally on LinkedIn, but also with your business. And we had 45 PAs come to that. Then we had a lady, Jane Weaver, who was a PA at a logistics company, and she ended up buying that company and turning it into a multi-million-pound business. And that was all about aspiration. And then we had another lady called Liz Taylor, who organised Gary Barlow's wedding. Faye, I can see your face. And she spoke about Christmas inspiration, and we had 100 PAs come to that event. And I very, very quickly realised, wow, what an incredible and huge community that of people that just didn't know each other at all. And it was really important for me to be able to continue to do that work, to bring people together. I was employed full-time by my employer, and I organised all of these events just, in my own time. But I also appreciate that I've never been in the role myself. Some people would probably say that could be a disadvantage, but I actually see it as an advantage, I think, sometimes, because it means that whilst I can completely appreciate a lot of the things that you go through, there are so many similarities in a lot of different roles and a lot of different sectors, that hopefully I would be able to be that person that could orchestrate those meetings and bring those people together. But there's no way that I would ever be able to do it on my own. And so it was really important to have a committee that we could bounce ideas off, speak about different things that we wanted to plan, and get their input, their ideas and suggestions about what we could do for the profession and how we could really make a difference. So at first we had 13 members of the committee, just one committee and 13 members, having never hosted a committee meeting ever. That was a lot of voices to try and listen to. And it took me a very, very long time to even make one decision, because I wanted to try and keep everybody happy. And so I very quickly thought, right, we need to kind of separate the committees a little bit more so that we could have a smaller groups, that we would be able to work in smaller working groups together. And that way they can build relationships with each other. They'll be able to get to know each other a lot more on a personal basis and on a professional basis. And that worked really, really well. So we continue to do a lot of learning and development events, a lot of networking events. And we then realised that there wasn't an awards ceremony based in Birmingham that recognised and appreciated the incredible hard work and achievements of the amazing community that we represented. So we formed an awards committee, and I know Tracey Paton is on the call today, who is one of the founding members of the awards. We, again, had never been through, we never knew what the awards process would look like. I'd never organised an awards process before. So we took an example when Tracey was up for Executive PA of the Year at one of the national awards, and we implemented the process that we have for the awards based on Tracey's experience, which was really important as a foundation for us to be able to continue to build on what the awards as they are today. So when we had 3 members of the committee, and I would meet with them and we would talk about how many categories do we want. At the first year we had 5, and how many, what would the process be like? What would people be doing? How would the journey feel for people going through that process? And so that was really important as well. And it's been very much a learning curve since then. And I didn't know about what the criteria was going to be for those categories, what we would be looking for, what sort of categories would appeal to people, or even how people would even enter and how we would get them to enter. And I think today that still is one of our biggest challenges, is how to get people to enter and how to get them to have the confidence to spread the message throughout their organizations, but also to have the confidence to either make a nomination or self-nominate. And sometimes there can be a lot of politics within business, particularly the larger organizations, about favoritism, people being put forward for awards, and is it fair to others that are being put forward. And I see it as our mission to continue to break down those barriers and create awareness for something that is an incredibly positive process. So what I thought we'd do is I just wanted to have a quick chat with Faye, if that's okay, Faye. So you're on mute, Faye, sorry.
Yeah.
There we go. So Faye, you've been with us now for quite some time, and you actually were somebody that went through that process with us in the very, very first year of the awards, weren't you?
I was, yeah. So I'll be really honest and put it out there. Awards just weren't for me at all, and it took quite a lot of persuading. I think Dan managed to get to one of my team members in the end and get them to nominate me. And it was truly terrifying, if I'm really honest.
Yeah.
But I've got to say, I always hand it to Tracey. She was on the judging committee when I went in. And as much as I thought, oh my God, I'm being interviewed for my job, Tracey just led it beautifully. And you know what? I came out of that and I didn't care whether I'd won or not. I just enjoyed every single moment of being part of that process, of getting my application together, meeting the judges. And I just felt it was such an empowering thing for our role, because we just don't celebrate who we are and the role that we do and stuff. And then when I won, it was just the icing on the cake. It was great. But it was great for my team. We were all there on the night as well. We had a huge party, lots to drink. It was fantastic. And then when Dan asked me to join the judging committee the year after, I just wanted people to feel the way Tracey had made me feel. So ever since then, when I've joined any of the interviews, I just think, I want you to enjoy this, be an experience that you just take away from it, that it's a great process, a great celebration of our profession, and then the awards night, just as I say, it's just the icing on the cake, isn't it? We all get together, a glass of champers, have a dance and just enjoy it and stuff.
Yeah.
I think working with both of the committees over the years, both of them have been equally as successful, loads of great ideas, lots of new categories, slight tweaks in process and things like that. But as Dan says, the biggest challenge is trying to get people to put themselves forward. And even when they've been nominated, is trying to get them through to that final stage that says, this is a positive process, enjoy it, And a lot of PAs, they don't get the support from their businesses that some of us are lucky enough to get, But just trying to get people through to that and just get them to the awards night, just to go out and just celebrate, I'm great at what I do. Somebody's recognised I'm great at what I do, and just get out there and enjoy it, really. So for me, being part of the original, set of nominees, going through that process, being a judge, being on the awards committee, I find it hugely rewarding. And also being connected with all you ladies, I get so much from listening to what experience you guys have and what you go through. And for me, forums were never my thing. I'm a bit long in the tooth for all of this, so I'm all good, but actually I get so much out of it. When I go for dinner with some of the ladies on this call, I just love it. I get there and I go, oh my God, you get what I'm saying. There's very few of us who get what each other does. So I think being part of any of the committees, whether it be the awards committee or the L&D committee, there's so much for you to get out of it personally and professionally. I'd recommend anybody put themselves forward and be involved, to be honest.
Oh, thanks, Faye. And obviously, I think everybody knows, whether you're, a previous committee member or current committee member, how valuable the committee members are personally to me. And I like to think that I show that, because like I say, I can't do this on my own. I never have been able to do it on my own. So it's an incredible opportunity for me to be able to work so closely with you all as well. And I think, Faye, you do have an incredibly busy role. How would you say, how do you balance your time? Like, could you give people a little bit of, I guess, reassurance about what the time commitments are like?
Yes, I don't do a bog standard PA job, and I don't think anybody on this call, I don't think there is a bog standard PA job. I've got 167 people who sit in my structure, and I manage a number of central structures. So yes, it's busy and demanding. But what I'd always say is just don't overcommit. If you can't do something, don't feel bad that you can't do it, because when you're in a committee of people, I know I can look to any of the previous and current committee and go, guys, I can't do this, and I'm really, really sorry I can't do it, but I know one of those will be able to do it. So amongst you all, you can cover it, you can support it and stuff. A lot of the things that we do are outside of normal business hours. So, if you're willing to give up, once a month, 2 or 3 hours a night, once a month, that's not a huge commitment for anybody. I don't think, if you think that what you're doing is for a good cause and it's empowering and it's celebratory and stuff. So, as I say, just be honest about it. I think all of us eventually go to that. I'm really sorry, I can't do any of these. They sent me out loads of dates the other day, and I was like, I'm on holiday for 2 weeks. I just genuinely can't do that. Or, if you've got a board meeting that's suddenly changed dates, your job has to come first. It's as simple as that. But then this, you get so much out of it. You do find time just to, I've lost count the amount of times all of us ladies on the awards committee must have spent a Saturday and Sunday sat there reading applications and marking them and stuff. But that's okay. That's a couple of days a year where you do it, you know. As I say, just be honest with yourself. Your job's got to come first. This is something you do voluntary. And just, you know, be honest with each other and lean on each other and depend on each other, you know. In both awards committees I've been on, everybody's good at something and other people are better at other things. You know, just take the things that you're good at, volunteer for the things that you're good at or you find interesting, and then learn the things that you're not so good at but other people are much better at.
And I know I will say this right now, Faye, because I know what you're going to say as soon as I say this, but you aren't on the committee for profile. You know, you're not one of the, you never have been. But what would you say that it has supported your profile? Would you say in some way, in terms of not just within your organization, but also externally, whether that be that you know, just through the valuable connections that you've met with other people?
I think for me, it's confidence. So I've kind of been doing this a really long time and I really love what I'm doing. But I also know that every day you can learn something new. And I've got to say, having been part of the forum now for 5 years, for me, it's just taught me that every single day you can learn something. And I can learn so much from all the people on this call and other people that I meet within the forum. So do I want it to look great on my LinkedIn profile? No, not really. You know, I'm where I want to be. I'm not leaving my job. I have no aspirations to leave SCC. I'm absolutely in the role that I've always wanted to be in, and I love that. But going through all the processes, it gave me the confidence to try something new. So I've set up all our new apprenticeship schemes at SCC and brought in loads of business admin apprentices. And it's given me that little bit of a kickstart. So you might have been doing this for 30 odd years, but actually you can do something different. And I think the fact that Dan constantly pushes me out of my comfort zone with public speaking has been massive help, because it means that I sit at a board table now and I am confident in my own thoughts and giving that feedback. You know, when you've been on a stage in front of 200 people, you kind of learn that that's just what you've got to do. So yes, it's great. And also the connections that you make with people, you know, to have the connections, or I know that I could, you know, ring Julie and ask Julie something, or Mel, or, you know, or Tracey, or whoever it might be. You know, I very often drop them an email. So I'm thinking about this, what do you think? And the way that everybody's just so supportive of each other. And there's one thing I will say about this forum, it's never negative. You don't get any backbiting and bitching, it's only supportive. And if it wasn't like that, then I wouldn't be part of it, to be honest. But you do, every time you reach out to somebody for some help. I know Julie and I were doing some work with Maria a few months ago around apprenticeships and things like that. It's great just calling each other and use that expertise, because nobody knows better than us lot, really.
Absolutely. But I think from a manager's point of view, though, Faye, as well, because I know Sarah's on the call today, who's part of the Aspire committee as well, is that these kind of extra activities and things that you do get involved with, they can support you when you are looking for different opportunities, or you know, within your performance reviews within your organization, about these kind of extracurricular activities and these volunteering opportunities, because it's all part of self-development, like you said as well. So as a manager, if somebody approached you and, you know, they wanted to do that, you would always encourage them to go, wouldn't you?
I mean, all my apprentices are all part of the PA forum, and you know what? Some of them are a little bit shy. You know, it's not naturally what they like to do. But they come to some of the networking events, it kind of becomes like, yes, well, tonight we're going to be doing X, Y, or Z. It's great because it brings them out of themselves, you know. And do they go and do they 100% network and talk to everybody there? No, they don't. But when they come back and they're doing all their apprenticeship projects and things like that, and we look at their 20% off the job learning, all of those things and all of those credits count towards all of that stuff. And also just around their genuine personal development. You know, the fact that they go to these forum events, you know, we had a table at the awards and we had a great night out, you know, real team bonding, and, you know, take them off to Albert Slosh and a few drinks and stuff like that. Absolutely love it. So that it is outside their comfort zone, but I think for all of us, really, it's a bit outside of our comfort zone. We're not the people who are the CEOs of a business and stand there and make all the strategic decisions. We're kind of the ones that they make decisions and we deliver it. So
no, brilliant. Thank you, Faye. And just want to kind of just give you an idea. So when we opened up nominations 5 or 6 years ago, we really, the first month, we didn't have a single nomination, not one. And we only opened up applications for the for 1 month. And it was only until there was a senior manager from a finance company who posted in our Facebook group, I can't believe that there's an award ceremony for people that order stationery and book appointments in other people's diaries for them. And Tracey, I can see your face, you're grimacing at the thought. But we were absolutely fuming. How could a director from such a big, and they are a very big financial firm within Birmingham, say such horrific and horrible things and think that that is what they think that the role is all about? And it gave us the push that we needed to go, no, we're not having this. We are going to be ambassadors and pioneer and push for the reward and recognition that the job role deserves, and that those people that are doing those jobs, no matter what position they're in, deserve. And so when we advertised that, the floodgates opened and we did start to get nominations in. First year was very much around self-nominations. We did have a lot of self-nominations, but we are pleased to say now that in our 6th year, we had more nominations this year than we've ever had before. And that is a real fantastic indication that things are starting to change. There's a lot of work left to do, but that's why it's really important to have a fantastic team that we can continue to push forward and keep that awareness going. So to give you a bit of an idea of timelines, so we are looking to open up the nominations for the 2023 awards in October this year. So we are looking to have our 2 awards committee members in place by the end of September. Well, I would say mid-September, because we need to get together with the committee and as one, talk about what categories we want to have this year, what the criteria is like. And to give you an idea of time, what we tend to do is we tend to give each committee member 2 categories each. So they will have the title of the category and put together the criteria for that category. We all come back together and then we have a look at that, and then we finalize that and publish that on the website. Collectively, then we all work together to advertise the awards and speak to a lot, if we can email or we'll use LinkedIn or social media or whatever forms of communication you're comfortable with, to be able to promote the awards and make sure that we do get those nominations in across all the categories. We tend to get a lot of applications or nominations for PA of the Year, which for us actually is wonderful to see, but it makes it very challenging. And the reason it makes it challenging is because everybody goes for that category. And so one year we had 75 nominations for PA of the Year, which was so hard because we have to cut that down. We can't interview 75 people for one category. It's impossible. So we have to shortlist. And so we end up having to say to a lot of fantastic people, unfortunately, you haven't made it through. And that also then is difficult for us because we don't want that to ever knock anyone's confidence. And we certainly don't want people to think that it's a reflection on the way that they do their job, because that's not true. And that's not why we do this. So it's important for us that we push the other categories as much as PA of the Year. What will happen then is we will have in December, all of the forms will be sent to the committee members excuse me, and all of the committee members will be asked to read through all the forms and independently score those forms. So we don't do any deliberation in terms of the scoring, but what we might do when we come back together and we've added up all the scores is we might suggest people moving into different categories, etc. And we will have to cut a shortlist at some point if there's been a lot of people in that category. Those shortlisted candidates then go on to meet the judges, and some of the committee members, or if not all of them, are involved sometimes in the judging process as well with our partners and industry professionals. So we're very lucky that we've had every single industry professional support our awards. So Lucy Brazier from Executive Support Magazine, we've had Victoria Ratton from the Executive and Personal Assistants Association, we've had Andrew Jardine from the Institute of Administrative Management, we've had Liz from IMA before, she's also been on. So we're very lucky to have that support. So we'll bring in industry professionals, sponsors and committee members so that we get a very independent view over who is either the winner of that category or taken through the other stages. Then the planning starts. So we're looking to do the judging. So the nominations will be scored in December. We'll come back together as a committee in January, and we will talk about and look at the shortlist. Then we will go through to the initial stages of the judging, which will probably be in about February time or March. And then the awards, we may do another stage of judging. We're not sure, but that would be something that's decided with the committee. But the awards will take place then on the 14th of July in Birmingham. So that's the process for the awards. We're also, the reason we're having to change the process slightly this year is because we are launching the East Midlands PA Awards, and what I can't have is both of them going on at the same time because it will probably kill me. So we're going to have when the West Midlands opens in October, November, East Midlands will open in January and February, just to give me a little bit of time between the two regions. And that's what we do. We come together, like Faye says, of an evening time. We sometimes, we'll most of the time go for dinner together, and we'll just talk through a lot of the plans, and then we divide the tasks between us as a committee. So Mel, I'm probably again grimacing at this section, but looking at the table plans and the menu choices, and then, for example, Julie has been really supportive with the trophies this year and organising those and the certificates. Faye's been really supportive, helping us do all of the awards slides and with some of the program as well. So we split a lot of the jobs between us, and we try to make sure that there's enough time so that people don't feel rushed, people don't feel like everything has to be done now and really quickly. And that's why this timeline is really, really important. So I'm just going to speak to Tracey. Tracey, you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Just before I wrap up the awards, I just wanted to kind of just touch base with you and just see how was your experience
of being on the committee?
Yeah,
absolutely amazing. And I honestly think it's just gone from strength to strength. Every year it just gets better and better, and I think it's fantastic. So all credit to you and the ladies. It's just awesome. My experience on it was fantastic. It was just lovely to see the number of people that either put themselves forward or became, nominated. Me, my first year, I was a bit sort of, well, they ought to be nominated. They shouldn't be nominating themselves. And then I just went complete reverse on that. And I was all for people nominating themselves because we don't shout about ourselves enough. But it's awesome for reward and recognition that we all deserve. And I've always said as well, I think everyone's a winner, regardless of whether you get through to that top short list or not. The fact that you've put yourself forward or been put forward is just incredible. And I would encourage everybody to go ahead and do it. It's brilliant. And well done, everybody, for the way you've all carried it on, and it's just amazing. It's just great. Every year it just gets better. It's wonderful.
We wouldn't have been able to start it without you, lovely. So thank you for everything.
There was a few of us.
I know, but no, you gave us the foundations that built what we have now, so it can only get better from here. So I really appreciate that. Thank you. And just to let you know as well that it's also really, when I watch the committee's face when they're reading through some of these nomination forms, is brilliant, because you learn so much from what you read. I think, Faye, would you agree?
bear with me. Sorry, I'm having problems with my laptop today. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, the amount of times I read through an application form and think, thank God I didn't go up against that person the year I was nominated. And then when I go through and I do the interviews with people, I'm frantically scribbling away, going, that's an amazing idea. And I'll even say to them, do you mind if I steal that? Because you can learn so much from these people. And you know what? You never ever found not to be impressed by somebody, whatever level they're working at, whatever category they've been nominated in. Every person is impressive in their own way. And you go through it, and at the end of the judging day, you just come away going, my God, those people are bloody awesome. They really are awesome.
No, definitely. Thanks, Faye. I mean, just before I move on to the L&D side of things, Julie, have you got anything that you would like to add to that, lovely?
Same as Faye, really. I was actually going to say, when you do read through the nominations, honestly, you think, oh my God, that's such a brilliant idea. I've never thought of that. I'm nicking that idea. And the same when you're interviewing people. And it's just so lovely to hear what other people have got to say. And all I would say is, you know, as PAs, EAs, most of us have suffered or still suffer from imposter syndrome, and we don't shout enough about what we do. And this is everybody's time to shout from the rooftops, which they should, about what they do and how fantastic they are, because businesses cannot survive without their business support functions. They just can't.
Yeah, absolutely. No, thanks, Julie, and thanks again to you as well for all your hard work. So appreciate that. And Mel, what about you, lovely?
I'll apologise now in case someone screams in the background. The baby is there. Yeah, I think I just reiterate what Faye says and what Julie said, and actually what Tracey said as well. I think I remember the first year of the awards, and I was a team leader then, and I nominated a number of my team, my colleagues and so on, and I remember then my opinion has completely changed as well, thinking that people should be nominated, and they should be nominated because the recognition should be there, but actually people should feel confident enough in their own ability and what they've done to actually nominate themselves. And my sort of view has changed on that as well. It's not that you're being cocky or arrogant or those words don't come into it. It's actually about recognizing how good you are at your own job. And that might be within the project. So we obviously had the project champion side this year in the CSR. So it might not be even just your job as a whole. It might be you've done things in particular that you want, you feel that, you should go up for. And going up against other people as well, I think is healthy. I think it's not necessarily about the competition. I think that's what a lot of our nominees have said this year is actually what's come out of it is they've made new connections with the people actually that they were up against in the awards. And I think that kind of sums it up really, that yes, it is competitive naturally. There is a winner, it's not everybody comes out on top kind of scenario. But actually it's the camaraderie of it all and the support to one another. And that's people who are in the categories against each other. And I think that kind of speaks volumes in itself really. But yeah, for me, it's been an absolute pleasure being on the committee. Like Faye and Julie have both said, reading other people's nominations, you do just sit there and go, oh my God, I'm not sure that I actually question myself and go, I'm not sure that I should actually be judging this. So yeah, it's just an incredible experience. And actually one of the best things I've done, I've been up and down in the last year, and it's helped me, being on the committee has helped me build my own confidence as well. And take sort of brave new steps and things like that. So it's, as much as you're giving back to something, you get so much from it in so many different ways. So yeah, I can't speak highly enough of just doing it, trying it. So yeah, and you do things that you don't do every day. I don't do a lot of event stuff, so doing the table plans and the dietaries and everything else, it's again another something that I haven't got to do every day. So yeah, totally just go for it.
Well, Mel will be working on the application process this year, so we've got our heads stuck down into that, aren't we, Mel? Which should be great.
We will be.
So, yeah. But no, I just say thank you so much. And like I say, this, you know, we like to think that we have a very fair and a very, very stringent process in place. That does not mean there's no favoritism. There's no way that we can do, because everything is independently scored, and it's independently scored twice, if not 3 times, by 3 different sets of people. So it can be quite a rigorous process, but it is absolutely worthwhile, because, like you say, it does help to build that confidence and those connections. And celebrate within your own organizations. We've had people before that have said, oh my God, I've been included in the newsletter this month. You know, that just doesn't happen. And to see those sorts of things and the responses people get from social media, you know, some people say, I didn't even know that I was connected to my ex-boss from 15 years ago who doesn't comment or like anything I do on social media. And then suddenly they come out the woodwork and say, you're, you know, amazing, truly deserved, you know. So lots of different things there, but we'll come on to, I'm going to move on now to the L&D committee, but thank you to everyone for your input. I really appreciate that. So we launched our Learning and Development Conference the same year that we launched, well, it was the year after, sorry, that we launched our awards. And the reason that we launched that was because there was not a economically friendly, I would say, conference that was taking place outside of London. And we wanted to provide something that was accessible to the people from Birmingham and the West Midlands, but also for the people up north as well that might want to come down. When you're traveling from Leeds to London, for example, it can be quite a long way. And we wanted to offer something that was affordable for people to be able to come to, where they felt that they had incredible value for money and they walked away feeling completely motivated, uplifted, and ready to go on with their role for the rest of the year. And I like to think that that is kind of what we have achieved. And I'd like to think that the people that have come along have really, really benefited from the value that they've been able to get. Again, our biggest challenge is trying to get the support of managers to let their teams out of the office for the day. It can be incredibly difficult to try and get funding to come to these conferences. And, you know, as much as we don't want to talk about what's coming, it's going to be even harder to be able to potentially squeeze the purses to be able to get people to come to these types of events. But they are so important, particularly, you know, we've been through such a tough time and we're still going through a really difficult time, that these events really do bring people together. Now, I know I posted an interview with Julie on social media the other day, and she was like, I was absolutely petrified when I walked into my first event and I had to go networking and speak to people. But she dived right in, and, you know, she had a great day, and she shared that with us in that interview. So thanks for that, Julie. But with the L&D committee, look at most of the learning and development that we do throughout the whole year. So not just the conference, but we also look at what sort of sessions do we want to provide online for next year. So at the moment, Fiona, who's on the L&D committee, is supporting me in creating a survey for our Microsoft Office workshops next year. What do we want to see? How does that, you know, she'll help me collate that information, and we'll talk through as a committee what sort of things we want to see next year based on the feedback from our members. And so those sorts of things are really important. If I get approached by speakers, which I get approached by people all the time wanting to do sessions for the forum, you know, I have to filter out whether it's a sales opportunity or whether it's a learning and development opportunity, and are they going to be a good partner for us. And sometimes the L&D committee can really help me with that as well. So I can see, is the content relevant? Is it something that people are going to be interested in? Do we want to do a lunch and learn? Is that speaker probably better placed for our conference? You know, and I get the advice and support from them. Each year we send out a survey to everyone that came to the conference. So once the new L&D committee is formed, we'll sit down together and we'll look through all the feedback, and we will decide from that feedback what the most popular sessions are and how we want the structure of the conference to be next year, and what sessions we should include, what breakout sessions we should do, what's more important. Are people looking for more networking opportunities, more team building, more practical learning, or more motivational and inspirational learning? once we agree the agenda, and I will say this, Fiona she'll agree with me, that I then get the date and then I start booking speakers in throughout the months. And Fiona goes absolutely bonkers at me because she's like, I don't know what you're doing. She's like, the agenda, I don't know what the agenda of the day is. Who are you talking to, and how is it working? I say, it will come together. I just need to confirm all the speakers. And that's the massive organizational part of Fiona that comes out. And she's like, Dan, I need some more detail than this, instead of you just going off and booking in all this stuff. So Fiona brings me back down to earth. She controls the agenda. She looks at the agenda for the day. She looks at the timing. She makes, on the committee members, make sure that we have enough breaks, that we've got communication pieces in there. So some committee members will be in charge of comms. Some will be in charge of registration. Some will be in charge of name badges. Some will be in charge of dietary requirements. So we split up the tasks again between us. And we very much work together as one unit on the day to make sure that traffic is flowing in the right direction. People know where they're going, that they're very much introduced to everybody that's coming to the L&D conference by being on the registration desk, but also having the chance to enjoy the day themselves. It's very important for me that those people get to have the day as well as the people that are coming, because they've worked so hard that it's such a shame then for them not to be able to experience that full day like everybody else has. And it is hard work, but I think they find it incredibly rewarding. I don't have anybody on today from the L&D committee, unfortunately, but it is such a pinnacle event for us during the year, that it's so important that we get, the awards won't be for everybody. There are people out there that are absolutely terrified by awards and don't want to be nominated at all. But there will be people that are really interested in learning and development. So we get a very good mix and blend of people across the both big events. And so it's important that we put together a really, really fantastic, memorable program that is professional. It makes businesses stand up and realize that we should be sending our teams to this event, because they will get back so much as well. I mean, let's just ask. So Julie, you're on. Do you mind me speaking to you? Julie Hedge.
Oh, hello.
Hello.
Hi.
It was your first conference this year, wasn't it?
It was, yeah.
What did you think?
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I think there was a mixture of stuff, and I think a lot of the stuff that I took away from it has empowered me to drive change in Shoesmiths. I work for Shoesmiths, so I'm working very closely at the moment with our own L&D business partners around PA networks, about training, etc., etc. Because I think the biggest part for me is when you talk about L&D for PAs, if you were to talk to your manager, not my manager, because I'm really lucky, but if you were to say to a wider audience, what does L&D for a PA look like? I think it would be easy to say hard skills. Yeah, you can go on a Microsoft course, or do you want something for PowerPoint, or what are you struggling with Excel? When actually it's more than that. And I certainly think within the PA community, certainly within Shoesmiths, we've got a broad range of PAs from administrators right the way up to EAs and team leaders. And you've got to look at it as a holistic approach as to what they need. And the PA conference gave me that insight to actually think around that and to think, yeah, it's broad. It's really interesting. You get to meet a community. I've made so many friends that I just naturally gelled with when I sat in the audience. So I think it's just amazing. And I think, but more has to be done. This isn't from your part, Dan, or anybody else. More has to be done from other PAs within their own jobs to really market what the L&D PA Forum Conference does. Because I certainly will. I'll be flying that flag now, I know. And also it's the bit about you can go even if you're not a member, and you've got to, do you know what I mean? Because I think I approached you about that, Dan. And I think it's knowing that the audience extends to members and non-members, and that's how you can get your footprint and your awareness raised.
Absolutely. And your boss, obviously,
Yeah, Alex.
Alex
Bishop.
joined us. Alex joined us on the panel this year. So what was
Yes.
her feedback? Because I bet was it interesting for her to see a conference for executive and business support professionals? Because has she ever heard of that before, or
No, I don't think so. And I think in fairness to Alex, she sort of fell into it really, because I think it was found by an EA, and people were approached about it, and luckily the invite got through to Alex, and thank goodness it had, because Alex has had that experience of nominating me for an award, and she's also had the experience of me coming on board as her PA. And Alex does see the role of a PA. She appreciates that role. And I think it's important that we have to spread the message, because I do think we've still got people, not necessarily in Shoesmiths, but across the industry, that might still have the view of what that person from that large finance company had, where you are just PAs. And I think it's really important, as you know from my submission when I went for the award, got to lose that bit about the just, have to lose that. You're a PA, don't put just in front of it. But I think it's also important that Alex does get on the panel with other like-minded senior executives, because the consistent message came across was they couldn't do the job without us, not us as an individual, which was nice to have that praise on the day, but us as a PA cohort. And we need leaders like Alex and other people that are on there to influence that and change the mindsets of people that sit on the boards, that people that are natural leaders, because I still think there's a lot of way to go to break the stigma about what place PAs play.
Absolutely. No, thank you, Julie. Appreciate it. I'll just ask you, Maria, as well. How is it for the L&D experience for you as well?
Well, I attended the previous one that was during lockdown, so it was
the virtual one,
and then this year, I attended face to face, and I got so much out of it face to face more than virtual. Because virtual, you're still working kind of thing, aren't you? So you get interrupted. But being there, and also being able to talk to your peers and network and just say hi, to people that you've been meeting, on the camera. It was great. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, fantastic. Thank you. And Sarah, what about you? And then I'll finish off with some timelines for that and a little bit more, and then we'll wrap up today. What did you think, Sarah, for the conference for you?
Yeah, I thought it was great. I think it was good, but like you said, to kind of speak to people that you've been on the virtual sessions with, and kind of picking back up with people that you've met from the previous conference before, because I've been to one face-to-face, one virtual, and back to face-to-face again. So getting a bit of a seasoned pro at these. So it's been nice to kind of meet people, and it also, because in the kind of role that I'm in, working with Julie, it's nice to kind of see what the stands are about as well. Because if you're not sure, because it's a great networking opportunity, but also seeing what those venues have out there and what those learning providers have out there with somebody like me that's still kind of new to them. I say new to them, I've done it for nearly 3 years, but still kind of finding their feet in the role. It's good to have that kind of support of being like, this is what there is. And if I felt like I needed that, I could then come back to the business and say, I found this at the Learning and Development Conference. What do we think? And then go from there, which is quite nice to have that extra backing behind it.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you, lovely. Appreciate it. So in terms of timelines, our conference is confirmed for, oh my God, hang on. The date for the conference is confirmed for the 29th of June next year. So we will be probably getting together with the L&D committee in November, which will give me December to have some conversations with speakers. I'm currently looking at the venues at the moment. Also, just to let you know, so once I shortlist venues, I invite the L&D committee to come and look at the conference venue with me, and the awards committees to look at the awards venues, and very much ask them for their input on which one they would like to book. depending on finances. But it's very important to have that input. And I think, Faye and Julie, when you came with me when we looked for the Park Regis, I wanted to make sure that you felt a massive part of that as the awards committee, and I hope you did feel part of that as well. So we will be looking at the venues together. We'll be putting together the conference. It's not it kind of goes a bit quiet then for conference for a bit, because we have to try and sell the tickets and create awareness. All the membership renewals come in pretty much in January or February next year, so we get an idea of how many people are coming to the conference, and then I would say it ramps up from about April time, where we start really looking at the program, the comms, speaking with the speakers, badges, registration, all that kind of stuff. So it does go a little bit quiet, but then it goes quite big. So again, just to kind of give you a bit of an idea about timings, we meet after work pretty much in our own time. We may have a virtual call during the day, it might be over lunchtime, etc., but we try not to interfere too much with your normal working day. Appreciate people have personal commitments, etc., which is why we have 5 committee members on each committee. And again, it goes back to what Faye said, that if you can't make something, it's fine, because if there's 2 or 3 of us, then great. If we can't all make something, or there's going to be a few of us, it would be better to try and rearrange that so that we do have that insight from everybody as much as we can. So I hope that has given you a little bit more information about how important the committees are to me and how important they are for the forum. As part of, we give the committee members a complimentary membership for the forum for 2 years, and that way you can join any of the events, any of the trainings for free. I do organise a lot of things outside for our committee members, so if I get anything through from suppliers, or if I get invitations to particular things, then I will try and send those to our committee members first, if not to the whole forum, if it's a large enough invitation. But you've had things like, Julie, you've been to Solihull Summerfest this year, I think, haven't you? Did you go? Yeah, Mel went to Solihull Summerfest this year. I think Faye got invited to a festival at Weston Park in Shropshire, and we share as much as I can to try and obviously just say thank you to our committee members. So I'm going to stop the recording now, because I'm conscious we've only got a few minutes left. But I just wanted to say, for those of you that are watching, thank you so much. If you are interested, I will be sending out an email after this call. We'd really love to hear from you about why you would like to join the committee. So whether that's the awards committee that you're interested in, or the learning and development committee, why is it important to you that you would like to join that committee? And, have you got any ideas and suggestions that you would like to bring to the table for us? We are trying to make sure that we have, as diverse committee members as we possibly can, so that we have enough information about all different types of categories for the awards, for example, that we might have that are relevant to the job role. It's important about position. You don't have to have been a really experienced PA to be on the committee. You don't have to be from a particular sector, etc. So we just want to make sure that we have a real good breadth of knowledge across all of those different committees. So I'm going to stop the recording now, and if you want to get in touch, just email me at daniel@pa-forum.co.uk. Thank you.